Hello and welcome students to FHSS English Digital Class for Standard 7. This is your English teacher Swarnali Roy and I hope all of you are keeping safe. In this time of adversity, let's make sure our studies don't get hampered. Therefore, today we are going to study the first chapter of English literature, that is Monday morning. Monday Morning is authored by Samuel Langhorne Clements, also known as Mark Twain. It is a chapter from the novel The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. The novel was published in 1876. It is about a mischievous boy named Tom Sawyer who lived in Missouri near the river Mississippi in the 1840s in America. It is considered one of the greatest works of American literature, mostly because it illustrates a great deal about the landscape and culture of America in the mid-19th century. Now let's learn a little bit about the author, Mark Twain. His real name was Samuel Clements, and he was the celebrated author of several novels, including two major classics of American literature, namely The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. He was also a humorist, entrepreneur, lecturer, journalist, and a publisher. Twain's books were treated as masterpieces by the contemporary writers as, for the first time, he had used the language of the common people in literature. Now let's learn a little bit what the story is all about. Monday Morning is a humorous story of a mischievous boy named Tom Sawyer who lives with his Aunt Polly and brother Sid. The story progresses on a Monday morning when Tom is unhappy to go to school as he feels tired by the thought of a whole week of uninterrupted school going. Therefore, he tries to make up diseases in his mind to convince his aunt. He tries to imagine that he has colic, which is an illness causing pain and discomfort. Then a toothache, and eventually he imagines to have a mortified toe or a sore toe, and makes up the excuse of dying because of the pain of the mortified toe. He intentionally cries in pain to get the attention of Sid, who was sleeping near him. Waking up to Tom's crying and seeing Tom in distress, Sid gets nervous and rushes down to call his Aunt Polly. Aunt Polly hurries up in concern, but soon realizes the act of Tom. She then laughs a little, cries a little, then does both, overwhelmed by Tom's pranks and innocence.
Monday. Sid, hey, wake up! I think I'm a-dying, Sid. There's something I want to give you before I croak. Oh, Sid, I can't bear the pain. I'm dying. It hurts something fierce. Oh, golly.
Are you really sick or just sick of school?
I'm a goner, so I want you to take my magic lamp Amy gave me. I'm dying. No mere mortal can stand it. I'm a croaking. Oh.
You're dying?
Now take real good care of it, Sid, and use it to remember me by. My heart's a-burning up.
Please, I didn't mean it, Tom.
Sid, is that you? Speak to me.
Yes, it's me, Tom. Don't die. I'll go fetch Aunt Polly. Ow! Help! Help! Mary, Aunt Polly! It's terrible, horrible! Hey, Aunt Polly! It's just that it's what I'm dying. Otherwise, he'd never given me his prized magic lamp.
Lordy, Sid, it sounds like our Tom is sick. Why didn't you say so? Oh, poor Tom. Oh.
hurts.
As we are going through the story, it is imperative to discuss the main character, who is Tom Sawyer. As we all know now, Tom Sawyer is miserable about Monday morning. He thinks himself to be very unlucky to not get to stay at home. Going for school feels like a jail for him. He prefers to be sick than going to school. Eventually, he makes up excuses to stay at home. He comes up with several diseases such as colic, toothache, and a mortified toe. It has to be also mentioned that he is extremely creative and a very good actor, since he can work out his acting skills very well while pretending to be sick. And though he is very naughty and keeps on doing pranks, he is still loved by all. After going through the character sketch of Tom, it's now time to look at the characters of Sid and Aunt Polly. Sid is a very well-behaved boy, but is gullible. The meaning of gullible is to be easily persuaded to believe something, as Sid falls prey to the antics of Tom when he pretends that he is going to die. Sid gets nervous quickly as he genuinely cares for Tom, and gets really distressed when Tom cries that he is about to die. Whereas Aunt Polly is a very kind-hearted old woman, and she takes the responsibility of looking after Tom and Sid very seriously. Despite all the troubles caused by Tom, she loves him dearly and makes sure that both Sid and Tom get their education very well. Let's discuss some questions now. First question: what was Tom's opinion on Monday mornings? The answer would be that Tom did not like Monday mornings because, according to him, going to school was like going to jail and again being in chains. He wished that at least there was no intervening holiday that intensifies the suffering still more. Coming to the next question, what were Tom's plans to skip school? The answer would be Tom's plan was to pretend to escape from going to school. First, he thought of having colic, but there was no symptom. Then he thought of one of his loose front teeth. But he couldn't have convinced his Aunt Polly, who would simply pull off the loose tooth and settle the matter. So he imagined his toe to be mortified. Third question: why did Tom decide to complain of a mortified toe? We all have come to the conclusion that the answer would be Tom once heard from a doctor that severe wound in a finger may lead to 2 or 3 weeks of rest, so he decided to complain about a mortified toe. He started imagining about it to such a point that he started groaning from pain. He even told his brother Sid that this would lead to his death. Question number 4. How did Aunt Polly react to Tom's complaint of a mortified toe? The answer would be, after hearing Tom's complaint about his toe, Aunt Polly knew very well that his excuse is not a serious one. Couldn't control her laugh. But then she began to cry as she was tired of his pranks. Then again she laughed and cried at the same time, overwhelmed with Tom's innocence and mischief. This much for today. Thank you. Stay at home and stay safe, everyone.